How to build a brand that generates demand in today's day and age. Whether you're a startup, SaaS software, Series A startup, brick and mortar style restaurant, online e commerce business, these are core principles and fundamentals that will help you to build a brand that generates demand for the longer haul and not just a one hit wonder in terms of a company. The core concepts that I want to cover in this tutorial will outline what is important for yourself to manage as the CEO, founder, CRO, CMO, or the dedicated marketing individual for your team. Given the number of hours we have in a day and the amount of resources and energy that every single company and team will have, it is quite clear that knowledge, resources, skill set, and manpower are all limited things that every individual brings to a table. Therefore, it's important that we make choices that help us to maximize the output of results. When it comes to focus, it's important to understand first, what is brand? Brand envelops everything to do with your story as the founder, the creator of the company, the story of your employees, the story of the company and why the company was founded, and moreover, the mission, vision, and values. What you believe in as a team, what you believe in as a product, and what you believe in terms of the marketplace, and how you are able to help the people who believe in your vision and who believe in what you do, and what transfers in their identity and your company's identity, and being able to help them believe in those core values. Messaging. This envelops everything to do with the way you write your copy for your emails, all the way to how you have the wording on your website, to the UI of your product. Messaging really helps you to convey who you are as a company, if it's more formal, if it's more laid back, if it's more corporate, if it's more structured, depending on the end consumer and what they're looking for in the sense of an ideal messaging that's going to help them get the idea through to them. The logo and look. The logo and look are often things that the customer will already have perceptions about before even having one eyeball on your content or even having one conversation with yourself as a company. These are things that subconsciously play a large part in perception and helping them to understand who you are as a company and who you are as with the identity aspects of things. And as I wrote here, your company's identity, personality, and extension of your value proposition are all core things that fall into understanding what is brand. The next is website. Website has an important part in the sense of portraying who you are, what you offer, and what you do, and being able to help a customer who's never heard about you before to understand who you are within 15 to 30 seconds before they move on to the next thing in their day, or moreover for them to understand that the key pain points that you talk about in your website will truly help them address the problems that they have with their specific business or with their personal lives. Next is customer experience. This is something that hasn't been talked about a lot, but how a customer feels after using your product or service will often dictate what that means for your brand identity. Think about how a customer in a Starbucks line will feel after they purchased their cup of coffee, picked up their order, and walked out the door. Depending on how seamless and efficient that process is, that will have a direct impact on how that customer will feel in the sense of returning again for another experience. And moreover, if they would recommend that specific product or experience to their friends. The same way that goes with purchasing something off of an Amazon vendor. Being able to have a good seamless experience with a certain vendor will then entice the customer to want to come back in for future purchases and also recommend to their friends and family. Therefore, the customer experience is really important so that every time you're onboarding a customer, dealing with customers, and dealing with customer service, that you're essentially talking about your brand in the actions that you do. The next is case studies. Case studies are a great way for you to convey your brand identity, your brand messaging, and what you do and how you do your best work and what type of results you can guarantee to the person who buys into your company through your case studies. And by displaying this somewhere on your website, on your app, possibly even adding in reviews and testimonials are all great ways to really speak about your brand message and the impact that you have as a company. How your product works. Again, this is another given, but a lot of people often leave out the core concepts of what makes your product work, what's the science behind it, what's specific technology behind it, because often than not, a lot of these consumers do a lot of research. So it's important for you to put out content that really outlines what it is your company does, how the behind the scenes objectives get done, and what makes your product unique, which again will never hinder but will only help your customer to get more in tune with who you are and what you offer. So now moving into demand. Demand is more of the stuff that you would consider outreach or outbound, in the sense of creating stuff that when you put out there will attract people towards your product and will help gain awareness on what it is that you do. Account-based marketing is an example of having key accounts, key individuals in the market who you want to reach out to because they would be the sole person who's going to be buying your product, who's going to benefit the most, and only marketing towards those types of individuals. Inbound marketing is when you create content that will generate leads and will generate prospects to come to click on your website and to come and learn more about what it is you offer. And this is a strategy that's both important when you're in the early stages as well as in the later stages. But you will notice how when you have inbound content and you have inbound leads, you have leverage as the company in being able to dictate the conversation around your product and services, and they will perceive you as a larger authority. SDRs is a great way when you have sales reps, when you're scaling your team and your force in being able to help attract more clientele by reaching out to more people in more markets, hiring sales reps to help you get your product in front of more and more customers. It's an essential thing regardless of the stage that you're at with your company. Email strategy. People check email anywhere between 10 and 12 times a day. Depending on the individual, it could increase depending on their demographic. So email has been a really effective way for startups, software companies, brick and mortar businesses, e-commerce brands to be able to get in front of their customer and to be able to have conversations with them that they will eventually buy upon or eventually build awareness upon what it is that you do or sell. So never underestimate the power of email strategy. Next is content marketing. Content marketing is super important in the sense of posting out content on YouTube, Twitter, social media, as well as blog posts, long form written content that's going to help your customer generally understand who you are, what it is that you offer, what it is that you do, and to help them build more trust with yourself as a leader, as the innovator in your specific marketplace, and to help them understand what their pain points are, and to go through a company's website or go through company's articles that walk through these pain points and how they can be solved will help to build trust down the road with your customer. The next is targeted ads. You've probably experienced a targeted ad from a variety of different companies, whether you're on social media, whether you're on your mobile device, on your browser, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn. Targeted ads are an effective way once you have the budget to be able to track people into your brand and to be able to track them in towards your specific funnel, your landing page, or your website. Personalization. Being able to have personalized requests for outreach, being able to have one-on-one conversations with your key customers often don't scale, but having personalized experiences for attracting those key individuals when you're starting off your company and getting those first few conversations is the best way to attract people and to build that initial demand. And finally, paid search, which is again Google keywords, whether it be PPC, getting certain leads for a certain rate is a great way for you to get attention towards your website or to get eyeballs on your landing page or your funnel that you've built out. And again, it's another paid acquisition methodology that will definitely help you if you have the budget for it. And moreover, if you've already seen key results and KPIs that are being driven from your other experiments or from organic marketing, paid search is a great avenue to explore. And what would fall under both in the sense of both brand generation and demand generation? Social media, as I discussed, PR. A lot of interesting cases have been made about PR. I personally think that you can still get the same type of coverage that you need to get to if you manually email as well as reach out to the key players in marketing magazines, in the influential press that pertains to your specific industry, rather than going to a dedicated PR firm. That's just my insights on it. Again, it really depends on what field you're in. Some companies leverage more PR because a lot of their consumers are always reading magazines and newspapers. If your ideal client and if your key consumer is not consuming this type of content, it might not be the smartest thing to do. Analysts, ads, and content syndication. Analysts are those who would be able to help you in the form of marketing, sales, tech, and being able to get reports done, being able to help you get data and insight on the fly that you can eventually translate into understanding your customer better. That would be super helpful and important. Ads, we've already touched on. Again, once you've leveraged your organic content and once you've already figured out what it is that your key value proposition is of your product and you've already gotten a fair amount of sales and revenue, ads are a great way to go into. And then content syndication, again, posting content on one platform and then repurposing it and posting on another platform is another important strategy that would be super helpful and that will really benefit with growing your platform on your various devices. Events, both in-person, online, Zoom webinars, strategy sessions, and just networking sessions in general under your company, under your brand are super effective ways to attract people towards your website, towards what it is you offer without selling them right away. And finally, product marketing in the sense of anywhere from visual display ads to physical in-person booths, places where you're getting people's eyeballs in front of your work and in front of what it is you do and what it is you offer. And positioning. Positioning will fall both ways in terms of demand and brand. How you position yourself as a company is very important in being a thought leader, in being able for them to look at you as the go-to person for their specific problem or pain point. When you think about search, you think about Google because they have positioned themselves to be the leader in the search engine industry. When you think about software, what comes to mind would be either Microsoft or Apple or Facebook because they position themselves as a leader of those specific spaces. In the same way, when you build your brand and you build your content, think about how you can position your services and products to help your consumer understand that you're the very best at what it is that you do. Building your marketing is like mobilizing a small army, so you need strategies and tactics. And winning is possible, but not easy. And like I mentioned before, it's important to understand that in a given day, as a company founder, as a CEO, as a CMO, as someone who's leading the operations of your front line and getting your word out there for your brand and for your SaaS company or for your venture, it's important that you have the right strategy and tactics that are in place so that you're not wasting your efforts in the wrong places and that you're really getting a pulse for what it is your customer really wants and only delivering those things. So now, going further in on that concept, it's important to apply focus. So when you're starting off or when you're in certain stages of your go-to-market plan, it's important to understand that you have limited resources. So figuring out two key strategies, one per category, one for brand and one for demand. One that's going to help you develop your presence as a brand, and one's going to help you develop your demand for people to come to want to buy your products. So answer these key questions, which usually are often answered in the beginning stages of building your company and building your product and setting your vision. But reflecting on these every 2 to 3 times a year will be super helpful in helping you to understand where it is you lie as a company and what your goals are moving forward. Number 1, what is the vision for this company? What is it the company is looking to do, and where along the lines are you in your 5-year roadmap, in your 10-year roadmap, or even in your 2-year roadmap? And understanding what the current vision is really important as a reflective place, as well as what your current initiatives will be that are in line with your vision. What are your business goals for the next 2 years? Creating demand and brand strategies that go in line with your business goals are really important because then you can divert your resources towards things that you have the money for or have the budget for or have the focus towards. You can't be focusing your energy every single place expecting results to fall everywhere. You get the reaps of the fruits for the places where you water your plants. So make sure you're watering the right areas that are in line with your business goals. Who's your champion customer? This is the type of person who they also call and refer to as raving fan, or the person who is a lover of your product. The person who will make repeat purchases, who's had a really great seamless experience using your service, These are the types of people that you really want to hone in on. And having this idea of who your champion customer is will help you to understand how you need to be targeting towards more champion customers. Because at the end of the day, you're not trying to attract every single person in the marketplace starting off. You want to really focus in on a very specific niche. And once you focus in on that niche, you want to be able to understand who is buying my product the fastest with the least amount of resistance, and moreover, how can I dial in on those types of individuals and who's having the best time with my product, and then focusing on them, and then figuring out who else is influential. If there's influential players in your marketplace that you can make partnerships with, that you can reach out to help getting more positioning and to get more coverage on your product, that's also a smart approach as well. What are the strengths and weaknesses of your product? Again, every single product does not do everything, but understanding what your strengths are early on, understanding what you don't do, will be super helpful in understanding who you need to be approaching, or what you need to be focusing on your company's vision and marketing, so that you address your strengths and then you capitalize on people who can minimize your weaknesses. And why do you win or lose against competitors? It's important to be super realistic about who your competitors are in a marketplace, and beyond doing a competitive deep dive, you should also understand why would you win or lose against them? What do they offer, and what makes them unique or different towards yourself? And why would you win or lose in a pound for pound when you compare features, or when you compare what you offer, or when you compare what your experience is like? Because again, every great company has had competitors. It's just a matter of understanding and being aware of what makes you unique and what makes you different and why you stand out against them. What obstacles stand in your way? Is it a matter of money, people, technology, resources? These are all things that a lot of people are often constrained upon as business owners, as startup CEOs, as founders of online brands. But understanding what obstacles lie in your way, you'll be able to reflect and make more sound judgments in terms of what marketing strategies need to be executed and what sales strategies need to be executed moving forward. Where do you have gaps in understanding of your market? Having gaps will often show you that you might be missing key focus points that your competitors might be focusing on, or understanding what your product doesn't offer because you haven't talked to enough consumers to understand enough pain points to be able to develop certain features that they didn't even realize they needed. So you have to be really aware early on, especially when you're marketing and putting out your content and putting out your product into the marketplace, to understand if there is any gaps in your strategy, in your experience, and in your offering. And next is figuring out the go-to-market strategy and plan. So go-to-market is a concept that you do from day one, from opening the doors of your business and your brand, all the way to the final days when you're getting acquired, because you're always consistently going to the market, depending on what segment that is, with your insights, with your offering, with who you are as a company. And it's a matter of being strategic about what your goal is towards each part of that plan on your roadmap as a company. So number one, goals. What are your goals? You need to be able to quantify and put metrics towards your goals. And why are they worthy goals above all other possible goals? So number one, this should most likely be centered around revenue in order to fuel your company. And then secondarily, it would probably be key metrics or key KPIs that help to move your company forward, which will be unique to yourself. Challenges. What are your strengths and weaknesses? Again, your go-to-market strategy has a large impact in helping you to understand the key challenges that lie ahead. So you need to understand what your strengths and what your weaknesses are, and moreover, how you can minimize your weaknesses and maximize your strengths as a company, as a workforce, and make a realistic assessment of where you stand with your internal stakeholders. Who are your internal stakeholders? Your former employees, your current employees, your investors, your customers, the people who consume your content, the people who are your partners. So again, your internal stakeholders have a large say in how you succeed as a company. Therefore, it's important you keep in touch and you have an open end of communication and understand exactly what those relationships look like. Insights. Look for non-obvious insights to inform your approach. What are the gaps in understanding or the data that you're missing? Look for non-obvious insights in places that you won't expect. Every single customer complaint, every single email, every single customer support inquiry, these are all important places where you can get insights on how you can improve your approach and moreover how you can improve your go-to-market strategy. Sometimes you'll get feedback that you never really expected, but unless you look in the place you're not willing to look, you won't often get concrete insights to act upon. And what are the gaps in understanding or data you're missing? Again, when you have data that you collect from your customers, it's important to understand what you're not collecting from them and what might be a bias, or what assumptions are you making with your data collection processes, and what's not being shown by your calculations. So going deeper in your insights will help you to understand the strategy of how you need to be moving and launching forward. And now, touching on a strategy. This is your approach and a simple description of how you'll take advantage of insights to overcome your obstacles. So being able to understand what obstacles lie in your way and what you want to focus your efforts towards. 80-20 rule, again, you would be able to land a large amount of your clients and the highest paying clients from 20% of your work, who drive 80% of your business. So being able to focus in on that is a super effective way that I've seen both with consulting companies as well as companies that I mentored and grew, as well as companies that I've seen to succeed in the marketplace have a super important and focused strategy that they use to overcome obstacles and to keep their focus. And tactics. The top tactical steps in your plan that connect to your strategy goals are measurable, and ensuring that the tactics that you use make sense for the current time and being, and you're not using a 30-year-old corporate strategy that's been used by the industrial giants in today's digital age. KPIs. Identifying the KPI that will really matter and will indicate if you should do more and change or make adjustments. Again, KPIs are key metrics that really are unique towards your company you're offering. If you're a mobile app, daily active users, number of purchases, number of clicks upon checkout, the number of exits before they move all the way through your funnel are all key KPIs that will indicate how you should adjust and how you should measure and how you should move forward with your day-to-day actions. So measure your key KPIs and make sure that they make sense. Do's and don'ts. Do stay positive, because again, building a company, launching a brand, putting out a venture, and offering services to people in the marketplace, it's important to stay positive, to visualize what it's like to win so you have a better understanding of what you need to be doing and working towards that goal every single day, regardless of how it may seem a difficult task or it might seem so far out from where you're currently at. It's important to stay positive. That's a given. Stay on top of your KPIs and check your metrics weekly. Once you get familiar with your metrics and your key numbers that you need to be following along, you should keep on top of them every week so that you and your team can stay ahead of what needs to be tracked and recorded and what needs to be measured. Do inform and engage your people. Always stay in touch with your people, have an open line of communication, and make sure that those who are fully invested into your vision and your idea are fully on board and know exactly what is going on 24/7. Don't overextend yourself. Stick to those two primary goals with brand and demand. Don't try to put your feet everywhere and trying to jump on every single channel for outreach, for social media, for branding, for trying to get your attention and marketing out there. Overextending yourself is just a great way to burn out and missing out the key areas where your customers lie. So stick to two goals. Be a short-term thinker is not being good, because you have to plan for the long term and don't just think about today and tomorrow. Think about the next 2 years, the next 5 years, the next quarter, the next 10 years, because this is how you'll be able to succeed strategically and by the numbers. And don't assume everyone knows or cares. The marketplace is very driven and very busy by the attention suckers, people who have attention over our time and energy and money, like social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. So don't assume that everyone knows about what you do, or don't assume that they care. Always restate who you are, what it is that you do, and restate your brand, restate what it is that you do in the marketplace and how you serve your customers, and always refresh it. And don't obsess about competitors or the big guys. Focus on what it is that you offer. Focus on what it is that you do and why you do what you do so well. And don't be afraid to tell people about what makes you unique, because people will fall in love with you and what you offer, and not just about what your product or market is. So don't obsess about the other people in the marketplace. If you're a winner, you're going to be focused on winning. Again, this is about building awareness, educating your buyers to consider you as their sole option, and driving them towards an action. And by diagnosing where you are today and where you want to be in the future, that's how you set your brand and demand strategy. Taking a realistic diagnosis of today's day events, and moreover your scenario, and understanding what you want to be and who you want to be down the road. So that has been a quick and insightful guide on how to build a brand that generates demand that you can apply towards your startup, your venture, your corporate accelerator brands, e-commerce brands, mobile apps, or any ideas that might just be fledgling in your mind. It's important to have focus, and it's important to have an understanding of where you are in the marketplace and where you want to get to. If you'd like to download this mind map, feel free to download it from the link below, as well as I'm now opening up limited spots for one-to-one coaching for people who have an existing business looking to scale their business, or have a startup venture or SaaS company that they're currently feeling that they want to scale and take to the next level. Feel free to reach out to me down below. And again, if you have specific problems and insights that you want to fix, or you want to address, or you want to get more content on, feel free to leave me a comment below, and I'd be more than happy to address that in the next video. Thank you.